Welcome to your deep dive. Today we're taking on kind of a literary mystery with a twist. We're diving into the novel An Antarctic Mystery.
Okay.
What makes this one especially cool is that it's a sequel to Edgar Allan Poe's classic, The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket. Ever heard of it?
Sure.
Don't worry if not, we'll catch you up.
Yeah.
Basically, we're about to unravel the mysteries of a doomed voyage and its connection to another expedition that went missing years earlier.
Precisely. Think of it like this. Someone found a message in a bottle. Only that bottle was an old ship's log, and the message hinted at a chilling fate somewhere in that vast icy expanse of the Antarctic.
Ooh,
Uh,
okay, I'm intrigued. So where does our story begin?
We meet our narrator, Mr. Jeorling, stranded on the Kerguelen Islands. Just picture desolate, wind-swept landscapes. And this guy, desperate to escape, he's in luck, or so he thinks when a ship called the Halbrane appears on the horizon.
But there's got to be a catch, right? It's not just smooth sailing from there.
The Halbrane's Captain Len Guy isn't exactly the welcoming type. He's haunted by the disappearance of his brother William, whose ship, the Jane, vanished in these same waters years ago. Len's on a mission to retrace his brother's journey following that logbook entry you mentioned, clinging to the hope of finding answers.
That's heavy stuff. So their journey is more than just exploration. It's about closure, maybe even a bit of obsession.
Absolutely. And you're right, it wouldn't be a deep dive without some rough waters as they set sail. The Halbrane is essentially sailing into a ghost story. I mean, they're literally following the path of a vanished ship.
Okay, I can already feel the chills setting. So they're following this trail of breadcrumbs, what, like checking off landmarks from William Guy's logbook?
Exactly. They make their way through the Crozet Islands, Prince Edward Island, even Tristan da Cunha at each stop. You can almost feel the weight of the Jane's presence, this unseen ship always just ahead of them. And then while approaching Tristan, they make a chilling discovery picture, a body frozen solid on a drifting ice floe. Turns out, it's Patterson, one of the Jane's crew, who was separated from his companions and perished months earlier. It's a stark reminder of the perils they face and a tangible link to the very mystery they're trying to solve.
Wow, that's intense. Talk about a reality check for the Halbrane's crew finding a frozen body from the ship they're chasing. I bet the tension on board must have been thick enough to cut with a knife.
You're not wrong. The Halbrane has two crews on board, Len Guy's original crew, and some new recruits led by a rough character named Hearn, and they don't exactly get along.
Right.
Then there's the ship's bosun Hurley-Gurley, who's got his eye on Hunt, one of the quiet, strong sailors.
Uh-huh.
He's convinced that Hunt knows more about these southern seas than he's letting on.
Ooh. Okay, so we've got some red flags popping up. Sounds
Yeah.
like this voyage isn't just about facing the elements, but maybe some human threats as well.
Let's just say the crew of the Halbrane isn't exactly a happy family. Their next stop is the South Orkney Islands, which is as far south as most sane sailors would dare to go. But Len Guy is driven. Remember, he's determined to go further into waters so treacherous they're practically uncharted. And that's where things take a turn for the, well, let's call it the surreal.
Hold on, before you go there, I've got to ask, since this is a sequel to Poe's story, is there anything connecting the Jane's voyage to Arthur Gordon Pym? Like, did they ever cross paths?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of why this story is so captivating. The connections are subtle, at first woven into the narrative like threads in a tapestry. Remember, we're dealing with a fictional account that expands on an equally fictional and ambiguous tale.
Okay, so we're going deeper down the rabbit hole. You were saying something about a surreal turn of events.
Right, so while the ship's in the South Orkneys, our narrator, Jeorling, has this incredibly vivid dream. He keeps hearing the name Arthur Pym whispered over and over again, and he sees a vision of Pym standing at the South Pole. I know it sounds a bit out there, but keep this dream in mind because it becomes pretty significant later on.
Definitely filing that one-away dreams in these kinds of stories are never just random, right? So what happens after the South Orkneys? Do they find any concrete clues about William Guy?
They do, and it sends chills down your spine. They come across a tiny desolate island called Bennett Islet. Remember Poe's story?
Yeah.
Well, Bennett Islet played a crucial role in that narrative too. And on this seemingly insignificant speck of land, they uncover a mass grave.
Whoa, okay, things just got a whole lot darker. A mass grave, does this mean they found what's left of William Guy's crew?
They find skeletal remains, but it's unclear if they belong to the Jane's crew. It's like finding a piece of a puzzle but not knowing where it fits. The mystery of what happened to William Guy and his men deepens.
So they're getting closer, but the answers are just out of reach, and they're facing a mutiny on top of that. Where do they go from there? Do they find any more clues on the island, or is it time to move on?
That, my friend, is a question for the next part of our deep dive.
Oh, man.
Buckle.
All right, I'm ready for it. Okay, we left off with the Halbrane at Bennett Islet, finding a mass grave, but no real answers about William Guy's fate. Where do they go from there?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you, instead of turning back, which is what any sane captain would do facing a mutiny, Len Guy decides to push even further south beyond the Antarctic Circle. They're sailing into waters no ship has ever navigated before, charting a course straight into the unknown.
So their journey is turning into something more than just a search for a lost brother, right? It's like they're testing the limits of human exploration, driven by this almost manic determination.
Exactly. The environment itself starts to mirror that descent into the unknown. They encounter a sea that shimmers with an unnatural milky glow, white ash falling from a sky that should be clear, and this strange curtain of vapor that blocks the southern horizon like a wall at the edge of the world. It's unsettling, to say the least.
Those details sound familiar. Didn't you say Bennett Islet also appeared in Poe's The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym? Are these strange phenomena also connected to that story?
You're picking up on a crucial point. These echoes of Poe's work start to become almost impossible to ignore. It's like the Halbrane is sailing not just through the Antarctic, but through the pages of Pym's narrative.
Okay, that's giving me goosebumps.
Yeah.
So we've got a mutiny brewing, a landscape that's turning increasingly alien, and this growing sense that there's somehow retracing Pym's steps. What happens next?
Just when you think things can't get more strange,
Right.
their luck, if you can call it that, takes a drastic turn. Picture this. They're surrounded by these otherworldly elements, and then a monstrous iceberg flips over, catching the Halbrane right in its path. Utter chaos, the ship is tossed about like a toy, and it seems like all is lost, but
Don't leave me hanging. What happens? Do they survive?
they do. But it's more a twist of fate than anything else. The capsized ship ends up miraculously stranded high on the overturned iceberg, like a piece of driftwood washed ashore. It's a disaster,
Rest.
but it's also their salvation.
Wow. Talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place. Literally. Okay, so
Yeah.
they're shipwrecked, but on an iceberg, what's the aftermath? Like, do they manage to salvage anything from the Halbrane?
It's a grim scene. More of the crew were lost during the capsizing, and those who remain are left to pick through the wreckage trying to salvage whatever supplies they can. They're trapped on this massive shifting island of ice, facing dwindling rations, freezing temperatures, and the constant threat of the iceberg breaking apart and sending them plunging into the icy depths. Okay, I can't even imagine the psychological toll that would take. Being stranded in the Antarctic is bad enough, but knowing you're on borrowed time, essentially living on top of a ticking time bomb that would mess with anyone's mind. And if that wasn't enough, there's this imposing sphinx-like rock formation in the distance that seems to hold a strange power over them. They're drawn to it, almost hypnotized. Remember Jeorling's dream with Arthur Pym at the South Pole? Well, the Sphinx seems to be pulling them towards some kind of revelation, some deeper understanding of the mystery surrounding both the Jane and Pym's voyage.
Hold on, a sphinx in the Antarctic now? That's just bizarre? Are we venturing into the realm of the supernatural here, or is there a rational explanation? I mean, sphinxes are supposed to be in Egypt guarding pyramids, not lurking around the South Pole.
You're right to question it. It's one of those elements that make this story so compelling. Is the Sphinx a symbol, a figment of their collective imagination brought on by the harsh conditions, or something more tangible?
Okay, my curiosity is officially piqued. What happens next? Do they actually reach the sphinx? Does it hold any answers for them?
The Sphinx does hold answers, but not the kind they were expecting. They reach it drawn in by this magnetic pole, and it's there at the foot of the Sphinx that they uncover the truth about William Guy.
Finally, they find out what happened to him. I'm guessing he's not chilling out on a beach somewhere sipping cocktails.
No cocktails. I'm afraid they discover his body perfectly preserved by the Antarctic cold. It's a bittersweet reunion for Len Guy, who spent years searching for his brother, only to find him lost to the icy wilderness. But there's a twist. A final piece of the puzzle, clutched in William Guy's hand, a note.
A note. What does it say? Spill the beans?
The note reveals that William Guy was abandoned on Salal Island, another key location from Pym's narrative, left to die by the island's inhabitants. The mystery deepens.
Wait, Salal Island, you mentioned that before. What's the significance? What happened there in Poe's story, and why is it relevant to the Jane?
Salal Island in Poe's narrative is a place of mystery and danger. It's where Pym and his companions encounter a strange, hostile tribe and face a series of increasingly bizarre and terrifying events. The fact that William Guy was abandoned there suggests a connection, a shared thread between the two voyages that goes beyond mere coincidence. It raises questions about the nature of Salal itself, its connection to the strange phenomena the Halbrane is experiencing, and its potential role in both William Guy's and Arthur Pym's fates.
Okay, so we're back to those echoes I mentioned earlier. The line between the two narratives is blurring, and Salal Island seems to be at the heart of it all. But we still don't know what ultimately happened to Pym, do we?
That's the ultimate question, isn't it? And the answer, at least for now, remains elusive. But there's another layer to this revelation, another twist that adds another layer of complexity to the story.
Okay, you're killing me with the suspense. Don't leave me hanging. What's the twist?
Remember Hunt, the quiet, strong sailor that Early Girly was suspicious of? He reveals himself to be Dirk Peters, Pym's companion from the Jane. He'd been rescued by another ship years ago and has been searching for Pym ever since.
Well, hold on. So all this time, a survivor from the Jane and a character from Poe's story has been right there on the Halbrane. That's incredible, but why keep it a secret?
That's a question we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive. We'll uncover the motivations behind Dirk Peters' silence, examine the crew's harrowing escape from their icy prison, and consider the profound implications of their journey.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. We've got a frozen message from the past, a sphinx in the Antarctic, and now a character straight out of Poe's story is revealed to be among the crew you mentioned. We learn why Dirk Peters kept his identity a secret. What's his story?
It's a tale of loyalty and unwavering determination. Dirk Peters felt responsible for Pym's disappearance during the events on Salo Island and vowed to find him. He believed that retracing the Jane's voyage might provide clues to Pym's whereabouts by keeping his identity hidden. He could observe, gather information, and potentially follow any leads that emerged.
That makes sense in a way. I mean, his silence is driven by a desire to honor a promise he made to his lost friend. But what about the rest of the crew? How do they react to this revelation? And more importantly, how do they get off that ticking time bomb of an iceberg?
The crew is a mix of stunned and skeptical.
Right.
Some are relieved to have a seasoned sailor like Dirk Peters in their midst, while others view him with suspicion, questioning his motives. But they don't have much time to dwell on it. Remember, they're stranded on a melting iceberg in the Antarctic. Their survival depends on escaping before it breaks apart entirely.
This is where it gets really harrowing, right? I mean, they're in the middle of nowhere, their ship is gone, and they're surrounded by freezing water. How on earth do they manage to escape?
It's a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. They managed to salvage a small native boat, likely left over from some indigenous group that once inhabited the region. Imagine a tiny, fragile vessel in a vast, icy expanse. Their only hope of survival. They pack what little supplies they can carry and push off from the iceberg, leaving behind the wreckage of the Halbrane and the haunting mystery of the Sphinx.
Wow, just picturing that scene sends chills down my spine. Talk about a desperate gamble. What happens next? Do they find help, or are they just trading one form of peril for another?
It's a grueling journey full of hardship and uncertainty. They battle the elements, hunger and despair. Their situation seems utterly hopeless. But then, just when their strength is failing, a whaling ship appears on the horizon rescue.
What a relief they're saved. So after all that, after the mutiny, the iceberg, and the revelations about William Guy and Dirk Peters, they finally make it back to civilization.
They do. But the story doesn't end there. You see, the journey has changed them. They've faced their own mortality, confronted the limits of human knowledge, and glimpsed the terrifying beauty of the unknown.
I can only imagine they return not just as survivors, but as witnesses to something extraordinary, something that defies easy explanation.
Precisely. And that's where an Antarctic mystery in our deep dive leaves us. We have answers about the fate of William Guy, a deeper understanding of the connection between the Jane and Pym's expedition, and a glimpse into the profound impact such a journey can have on the human spirit. But the ultimate fate of Arthur Gordon Pym remains shrouded in ambiguity, much like the Antarctic itself.
So we're left with a sense of wonder and a lingering question. Where did Pym end up done? Did he perish in that mysterious, unforgiving landscape, or did he find some other fate, some truth beyond human comprehension?
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? The story, like life itself, doesn't always offer neat resolutions. It leaves us with a sense of the vastness of the unknown and the enduring power of mystery.
And maybe that's the point. Maybe it's not about finding all the answers, but about embracing the journey, the search for knowledge, the willingness to push beyond the boundaries of the familiar, just like Dirk Peters relentlessly searching for Pym. We, too, can choose to pursue our own mysteries, those unanswered questions that spark our curiosity and drive us to explore the world and ourselves more deeply.
If you could pursue any mystery, what would it be? What question would you dedicate your life to answering? Think about it. Let that question be your compass, your guiding star as you navigate the uncharted waters of your own deep dive.